I'm Saro Rizzo. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm the Vice President to React Alliance, and I'm going to speak a little bit about what happened on January 20th. As you know, we had a rally on January 18th. It was a great rally, and the basic point was to remind the incoming administration as to the promises they made. And January 20th, Trump came through, and he signed an executive order. And I read it and looked at it, and obviously we're ecstatic because it is quite powerful. And basically, it says a lot of things, but basically what it does is it puts a basic halt on BOEM, which is the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. It puts a halt to all new leases. Okay, so no more leasing of any of the federal oceans for offshore wind. And more importantly for us is existing leases out there. It basically halts all existing permits no matter where they are. It basically says we're going to take a look at every existing permit out there, and it says that we need to further look at it for environmental purposes, economic purposes, and overall energy strategy purposes for the United States. So what that means is, and what those long-term goals are going to be have undefined. So, for example, they're going to look at what the cost of electricity is, because if the administration says our stated goal is to have clean, cheap, reliable energy for the United States, okay, so then this is the type of analysis never took place when they're looking at these leases. It goes, hey, what's this stuff going to cost? What's the end? These types of analysis. What's it going to do to the fishing industry? That type of analysis never took place under the Biden administration or BOEM, when it was basically, get it permitted, throw it out there, this is the most important thing. Anyways, since it came out, there's been obviously us who have been opposing it, people like yourselves, people our brethren on the East Coast have been happy about it. Everybody's trying to look into more of it. You had some national organizations supporting offshore wind, like the Sierra Club, and then you have the unions and whatnot. If you see, even locally, they've been trying to soft play the true effect of it. There was an article, by the Sierra Club in the local paper, and they're going, oh, well, it's really not that big. We're going to go forward with it. Really, really bullshit, because it really is a lot harder. They don't want to admit it. For example, an objective analysis, objective to the sense, is done by one of the biggest law firms in the United States, or Perkins Coie. Actually, I dealt with them in the past on other issues. They did a full analysis of it. And remind you, Perkins Coie represents one of the offshore wind companies involved in the Morro Bay fishermen's defending one of them. And their analysis, and it's out there, and we'll probably put it on there, basically it comes out and says there is great uncertainty for any permit currently in existence, whether you're at the ground base like here, where the lease has just been giving, nothing's happened, or you're even at, you're even at the 11th hour of going up and doing it. And why would a law firm go out there and say there's great uncertainty? Because this is always driven by money, okay? This is all this stuff is not driven because people want to make the world green and all that kind of stuff. It's all about money. This is done billion-dollar corporations. It's about tax credits. This is about making rich people even richer. And so when you look at it from the money's perspective, publicly traded companies, they have a duty to shareholders and duty to their boards. The boards have a duty to their people. So when they say there's great uncertainty out there, the law firms are saying is there's no guarantee if you put your money up here and you continue with these things that you're going to get what you think is going to happen. You could put $3 billion into it, and tomorrow, as we know with this president, he says, hey, it's not happening, it's not happening. You throw through $3 billion. $3 billion is nothing. For what I'm reading, some of these projects, you're looking at 8, 10, 12, $15 billion investments. So off the coast here, Equinor, looking at 100 things, maybe that's close to 15, 20 billion, okay? And the executive order doesn't even talk about the what's going to happen with the Inflation Reduction Act. The Green New Scam is what we call it, with the tax credit. So you already have this level of uncertainty. Take the money away, and this thing is all going to start. It's like a house of cards starting to come down. This is already what's happened, okay? Before the executive order was even signed, you had the governor of Connecticut, a Democratic governor, his name escapes you right now. He decided the other day that Connecticut is not going to participate in a tri-state with Massachusetts, and I think in Delaware there's going to be a joint project where they were going to purchase offshore electricity. He looked at it and he said, I cannot justify this to my ratepayers. He goes, it's going to cost way too much money. And so he pulled out. Because he pulled out, Massachusetts, Delaware, that project's dead. Yesterday, Monday, the governor of New Jersey, a Democratic governor, looked at what happened. He goes, because of the uncertainty under the Trump administration, what happened? He goes, we're not going to be purchasing electricity. Those projects are already done. Okay. You had Shell the other day wrote off $1 billion off the coast of New Jersey. What was the name? Ocean Winds. Yeah. They pulled out. They said, dump the $1 billion. We're writing it off. We're not going for another ocean thing. Equinor, which is I read this morning in corporate offices in Norway, they had the CEO gave a speech. They said they're either going to further scale back. He didn't mention California, but that is basically. It's going to be flushed out. We already know that it's put on hold in California. Equinor, as far as not going forth here, is probably even going to be further scaled back. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull out. What does this mean? Is that we keep our pressure up, but it's foolish, and this is what we're trying to remind people. Yesterday I spoke at the Board of Soups, and Mandy and I were talking about this is what's happening in the East Coast. It is foolish of this administration in California, the governor, right? And all the CC Coastal Commission and the California Energy Commission and all these people, they've all drank the Kool-Aid. They've all been shoving this crap down our throat for 4 years. They've all been telling you it's a done deal. Guess what? As if they are in the driver's seat. They're not in the driver's seat. Guess what? The driver's seat on all this stuff is Washington, D.C., and they basically said, I don't like it, it's not happening. So we got to remind these people, I mean, the attitude is like, okay, well, Trump is here 4 years later from now, we're going to continue going on. The point is, just for the port development in Long Beach and in Humboldt, right? They had a big kumbaya about a month ago. It's all going to be great. We're going to build out the two ports, $10 billion, right, California? That's just the initial cost, $10 billion. But when you factor out the financing of that with bonds and stuff, it's going to be more like $20-30 billion. $40
billion.
Yeah, $40 billion. So why would California want to go forth with something to build out these ports, right? When the people who want to do it, they're already pulling out, or they're not even going out. It's foolish. It's a big waste of your taxpayer money. So we need to remind our people in Sacramento, remind Don Addis, remind everybody said, why are you going forward with this when the people who, you know, the powers that be don't want it? It is foolish to waste our money on this stuff. We got all sorts of problems. California is already in a budget crisis. It's already bad. Right now they're borrowing from the emergency funds. Why would you want to go forward spending money on this economic boondoggle? And then even now, you know, at the best, you got 5 leases, 2 up in off of Humboldt, 3 down right here. 2 of them are already basically on hold. RWE, right? Right. They're on hold. That's a German company, the biggest German energy producer. They're up in Humboldt. They already put things on hold. I mean, so all this port infrastructure stuff, this money, doesn't make sense if you're just going to have 3 people. I mean, they can promise all they want. It's like they want to throw this big party, but guess what? No one's showing up. And your taxpayers are going to be the ones that, you know, trying to tell you how they're doing this to save, you know, for the governor doesn't care. He's out of here in 2 years. And at best right now, had not what happened in Washington, D.C., this stuff wouldn't be happening out here to 2032. You all know about the technology not even being perfected now. So it is the good thing, all your work, everybody's work, it's like all come together. It's not ended, right? Okay, it's not by far. You got to keep on fighting, reminding. That's why Coastal Commission tomorrow, I'll be on there and I'll tell them, hey, you guys, you know, wake up and smell the coffee. I mean, this is going nowhere. Everything's changed, really. I mean, why do you go forward with this crap when the people who want to do it are already pulling out, right? Focus on something else. So keep the pressure up local. Remind the local people. There's still these idiots going around here thinking it's a great thing. They don't, you know, they haven't read the paper, you know, they're still, I don't know where they're going, and you gotta remind them of this, okay? Like, what are you wasting your time on this stuff? Why are you wasting our money on it? It's, you know, the writing's on the wall. Basically, I like to say it's dead in the water. I mean, no pun intended, but you know what I mean? They gotta figure out which way the wind's blowing, another bad pun, right? But it's not blowing in their direction, right? Okay? It's in our direction, the wind's in our sails. So thank you, everybody, and keep it up. All right.
The jurisdiction of the Coastal Commission, how far out is that?
It is,
1,000 feet in from the high tide line.
yeah,
Out, it
yeah.
goes out too.
But you know, again, but like I said, I look at these people and I think you guys are fools, okay? I mean, like, it's a federal project.
But they don't have jurisdiction.
No, they don't know, they don't, but they
Process.
can sit there and go, they think, you know, it's a federal project. With regards to the permits, okay, and this is what Bowman, they're not gonna be processing any permits. In fact, there's supposed to be a meeting the other day to, like, for everybody who are talking about the PE.
The PEIS.
The PIS, they're supposed to have a general meeting for like everybody to figure out, guess what? They canceled the meeting the other day.
You guys, there's a little bit of confusion, and the CCC is the lead agency even for projects and permits in federal waters. They have been given lead agency status. So that's basically it. I mean, they are giving the permits for federal water surveys, and they are giving the permits for nearshore. So it's all CCC in our state right now.
But what we're trying to do right now is remind whoever the new incoming person at Bowman is, because as they gave that power to the CCC, they can just basically take it away with one letter. They're saying, hey, change of administration, change of policy, don't process any new permit, everything's on hold.
My hearing isn't the greatest. You
Yeah.
said CTC, what did you say?
The CCC,
Coastal-
California Coastal Commission.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Have you heard that, which I did today, that the state is getting, legal teams together and suing the.
Yeah, on a whole, the governor, they put $50 million together to try to, on a whole host of other issues and stuff. But like I said, they can't sue it's a federal project, they can't sue them to go forward with something. And they, like I said, first is, the companies themselves are starting to back out. Because once the money's not there, they're not going to go forward with this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like,
Stockholders.
yeah, the people are gonna say, you know, why are you gonna waste our money with this stuff?
Players.
Exactly, so, in fact,
Well, the state has never been adverse to wasting our money.
yeah, and then you also gotta think, there's a lot of politics involved, with Shell, for example, right? Shell decided to pull out because they're looking at, maybe, you know, they're not gonna wanna upset the administration, because whether you like it or not, the administration says, we want to do more oil exploration, more natural gas exploration, right? So if they know that Trump hates offshore wind, you're not gonna be going forth with offshore wind and still expecting to get an oil contract or an oil lease. It's not gonna happen. And by the way, one last thing, someone on the East Coast we've been talking to, I'll be putting together maybe in the next presentation. It's talking about one of the developers out right here is talking about the influence of the Chinese, the government, you know, 50% of all the blades and all the turbines and stuff in Europe right now are manufactured in China. Not Atlas Wind, which is the other one here?
California.
California.
Not yet.
Golden State Wind.
Golden State Wind is a joint project between two companies, one from Spain, one from Portugal. The Portuguese company, the major shareholder, is a Chinese company, which is the same state-owned company of China, the Chinese Communist Party, which is already on a watch list of the United States government. So that's the people who own the Three Gorges dams, are all offshore wind. China's huge on offshore. So I'll be putting together a paper for all you guys and do it. So when you go down to your local people and they said, how come you want to, I mean, do you really want your future of your electricity in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party? I don't think so. All right.
Oh.
Yes.
One thing I'm confused about, so the executive order is saying no more leases.
No, yeah.
But the Bay News said that existing leases, and these companies have leases, Trump's gonna be in for 4 years. I mean, I keep thinking, yeah, they're gonna cool it now, but they'll just pick up again when he's out.
Not, well, okay, the existing leases right now, some of those, the way it's read, they can be, actually, the existing permits can be revoked, pulled, because they said every existing lease will have to be relooked at, so they can go, and then again, you have, but what about the fourth, 4 years from now, betting money is not gonna bet 4 years down the road to change administration, because at the 4 years from now, you're gonna have most likely Vance, and I heard him on the Joe Rogan show, he's just as opposed to offshore wind as anybody else. So, I mean, how are you gonna be a company saying, let's spend 10 billion down the road when, there's a good chance that the vice president gets elected, the policies are gonna continue. So, I mean, from the economic point of view, to think, oh, we're just gonna sit around and wait 4 years, it doesn't make sense.
They have the leases, but they don't have the permits.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to add one thing. I noticed we have not taken an approach with respect to the corruption